Hello again, guys and gals. I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to Big Bud Farm. And it's been a while since we were last here. It's been a week. In fact, it's been just over a week since I last recorded any videos on any of my games or any of my farms. I've been taking some time to just recharge the batteries, so to speak. Take a little bit of a breather from my recording, and also to deal with a couple of things as well. Just had a new mattress installed today, which is fantastic. I'm finally going to be able to get a good night's sleep for the first time in a while. I've been waiting for this for ages, been chasing my landlord for months and months, and finally got that delivered today. So a nice comfortable bed now with without springs poking through into my spine every night. That'll be always a joyous occasion. But I've been busy, and I've been playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto over the last week or so with the new Gun Runners update. So I just wanted to take a break from recording and try the content out, and not have to worry about the pressure of recording at the same time as well. So we're back, ready to crack on with our farms again. And as you can see, I've been a little bit busy with some ploughing as well before I started the record. What I've done is I've added in a couple of these extra patches of ground here. So if we look on the map, you can see this is this strip here, sort of between fields 1 and 2 above the shop. We're actually going to turn this into a little forest. So I'm cultivating the ground. I'm going to put some trees in here, and then sort of create a little path that runs between the two. So parts of this are going to get grassed out or removed, and we're going to have a nice little forest area in here. And then the area above the BGA bunker, I've also ploughed all of that as well. Turn that meadow, that's the reset point in there, but I've turned that into sort of a workable grass field. It just needs planting now, but it's all squared and clean and ploughed like this, nice straight clean edges. It just needs, as I said, to be planted with grass. So I was going to sort of do all of this off camera, but I realised that the next job would just be sort of cultivating and reseeding fields 3 and 5, and you've seen me do that a couple of times already. This is something a little bit different, so I'm going to allow you to sort of watch what I'm doing as I do it with this. We're going to use a little bit of cunning and a little bit of trickery as we do this. We're going to use a little bit of work from helpers. We're going to have the sort of buy options turned on for those helpers when it comes to planting trees. And also what I'm going to do to help create a nice visual effect is I'm going to hire a manure spreader. And even though we don't need to fertilize this ground because it's going to have trees on it, I'm going to I'm going to spread some manure over the ground where the trees are, just to give a nice sort of visual look. It'll help differentiate as well the ground colour between where the sort of dirt road is going to be going up the middle of this section, and where the trees themselves are. That's the plan anyway. So we'll be leasing a manure spreader, and we'll be getting the worker to buy the manure, because obviously we don't have any of our own, and that way he can spread manure for us nice and easily. Okay, so there we go. This nice little strip of land here has been cultivated. Just getting that folded up. There we go. So let's get this out of the way. I've already hired a second tractor And we'll keep the cultivator on hand as well, because we're going to have to do this in little bits and chunks. We might even lease a small cultivator. But I want to have a dirt road that kind of runs through the middle of this area with trees planted either side of it, and then have a sort of a clearing, a central clearing as well, as kind of like the staging area. So here's the other tractor that I've leased. I've gone for an Agro Star with rear twins. You can see I've got nothing loaded on the back. And that's because to plant the trees the way I want to plant them, it would take an eternity to constantly keep loading and swapping pallets. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to be a little bit clever. And I need to go to seed refill on. And we'll turn fertilizer on as well, because sorry, that manure, because we'll need that one later. So let's lower this down and hire a worker. Why is that? He should. Now that's odd. It's saying tank is empty. Let's turn these on and see if that will cover it. No. Maybe we need to have at least one. So let's go pick up a single crate. And we'll try that again. Okay, so there we go. We now have a pallet of 20 poplars. Oh, not poplars, sorry, 20 saplings. So, hopefully, this time we should be good. Alright, so there we go. So now you can see we are planting these, but the count is not going down. So we needed a pallet to kick this process off. But this is going to run up and down this field a few times now and plant, a couple of lines of trees for us. And then we'll have our central path. And then we'll do the same on the opposite side. And we'll keep doing this until we have a nice sort of row of trees. This is where it's going to start getting interesting, because we're going to try and pick out some lines and some gaps between the trees as well. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. But essentially what I'm going to try and do is create a little bit of a grass border between the where the trees are and where the road is. Okay, so the first line is planted, so now we're going to go back and we're going to plant a second line, starting in around about the same place, and obviously just a little bit offset as well, just to make it a little bit easier when it comes to actually harvesting these trees, or I say harvesting, working them, cutting them down and so on and so forth for lumber. So let's put one about there. In fact, we can even go wider a little bit, give them a little bit more room to grow. There we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah, That's not too bad. That's pretty equidistant. It's not quite perfect, but that's not bad. That gives us a nice staggered sort of coverage of the trees. Also means when we go and if we use a chainsaw, we can come in and we can go vump and cut it down, and it'll fall hopefully flat to the side like that. And then we can come in and cut this one, vump to the side, it'll fall flat here in this gap, and we'll have a nice gaps lined up so that if we actually want to work them as logs rather than as wood chips, we can actually get in nice and easily that way. Plus, it might make getting in there with the scorpion a little bit easier if we use a scorpion. Alright, so now I'm going to try and line up for a third line. Again, I'm trying to judge the distance between where the trees are going to be planted. I think that's pretty good. So let's go about there. And what we'll do is we'll actually jump out, let that carry on. And just to blend this path in, what I'm also going to do is plough up this path here, this entrance. There we go. This is just going to help keep that kind of appearance of the dirt road being all the way to the main street, rather than just having this sort of little patch of dirt at the entrance here. That's the plan, anyway. There we go. So we have our dirt road entrance. So what I need to do now is I need to kind of put in a little bit of separation as to where this dirt road is going to run. So for that, I need the roller. Obviously, need to be slightly more manoeuvrable. So I'm going to drop the plough just there. Let's check on our trees. A little bit of time left. So now I can get the roller right up here. There we go. I can bring this road in like this. And we'll probably be making an alteration to this as well. We'll actually re-plough some of this ground in the middle. I just want to put a little bit of separation in by the trees. So this will be the last one to go in on this bit here. There we go. So I need to cut back a bit more. I'm going to have one more line of trees, you see. At least that's kind of the idea I have in my head at the moment. So I'm going to carry on sort of spacing out where I want my dirt road to be, and I'll rejoin you guys in just a moment. Okay, so it's looking a little bit of a mess at the moment, but it is taking shape. I've got these rows of trees here on either side, and ignore this here. I'm reworking where the road itself is going to be. I'm going to have a sort of a turning area down here, and a little bit of a wider area further down as well. Just rounded off this corner a little bit here as well. But the basic plan, you can see where this line of trees is here. The path is going to cut in this way a little bit, and then kind of drive back out over here. And this will be a relatively narrow path. It won't be, you know, ultra wide, ultra defining. But this is where it gets sort of tricky, because what I need to do is actually put in sort of a separation line around the edge of the trees, sort of like this. Just try and just smooth that corner off just a touch. There we go. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting in a separation area between where the trees are, and then I'm going to come along and I'm going to sort of re-plough this land and have a thin strip, a thin gap between where the trees are planted and where the dirt path is going to be. So I'll have a little bit of separation between the two. I'll recultivate everything before I'm done. But this is how I'm going to sort of create this sort of little forestry area. So we go a little bit wider. Now we can bend that back around again. There we go. And we actually do need to go a little bit further out. Just there. So if I raise that up, what I need to do... And we can't take these trees up. We can't rip these up now that they're there. We have to wait for them to finish growing. So if I just re-plough like this, you can see the the saplings are staying there. We're not tearing them up. They're not getting damaged. These will stay here now until they start growing, and we can attack them with a chainsaw. So let's switch back to the roller. There we go. Now we can just sort of clean that line up a bit. It doesn't need to be a perfectly straight line as well. I think that adds an extra little bit of character if the path is going to be slightly sort of wonky and not perfect. So there we go. There is the patch there on the first side. Now if I plot out the same around the other edge, I'm just tidy this little patchy bit just there. There we go. So all this will get recultivated. And now if I do the same around these trees here, see I've got an area here that's going to be a bit wider. I've got 2 lines of trees in at the moment. I'm probably going to add a third one in as well on this side. We've got 4 on the opposite side. We've definitely got space for a third one here. And I'm probably going to put a shed in just here, so that we've got somewhere where we can actually store some equipment. So this area here will have a shed in it just next to this sort of path entrance. But if I start to put in the actual dirt road itself, So I need to drop the plough. Bring this around, and I need to be careful to leave a gap. Like so. I mean, I could try and actually plant in a strip of grass, but that would be a little bit awkward, a little bit tricky. We'll see how that goes. I might try and put little tufts of grass in here and there. It means hiring another seeder. But you can see here we're going to have a little bit of separation now between where our trees are and where our dirt path is going to be. And again, I'm keeping it a little bit erratic. Doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. But this creates our nice little turning area just here. And now that we're linking back up over here, this is where I need to be really careful so I don't confuse where the plough lines are. There we go. And I may need to come back in and touch this up later. But I want a nice wideish kind of turning area just here. Again, this is just a rough draft because I'm going to have to come back in with the roller and then rip part of this up and then relay it again. So let's actually do that now. Let's drop, what was the plough? Let's drop the roller down. And a nice sort of rough sort of edge on where our trees are going to be. We'll keep it wide here. And here's where we'll narrow it up a bit. So this will create room for an extra line of trees along here. It's starting to take shape, so I'm going to carry on working on this and I'll catch back up with you in just a moment. Okay, so I've added some additional trees in. I've added in a little bit of reshaping on the road. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to use the manure spreader here that we've leased, and this should still work even though it's completely empty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spread manure over where the trees themselves are going to be, just to give a slightly different colour and texture to the ground where all our trees are going to be planted. This will help differentiate between where we have worked land and where we have dirt roads. So we line up. There we go, and that's actually not wide enough. There we go. So even though we don't actually own, I can still go further wide, I think. Let's just play it safe. We're paying for this manure, so we may as well spread it where we want it. There we go. So you can see the difference in the ground colour and the ground texture. And this is going to stay like this because we're not planting anything on this. So this will be the ground colour for where our trees will be, and it'll just give it that nice kind of slightly muddier kind of look. And it'll help distinguish the difference between that ground, which is where our trees will be, and this colour ground, which will be our dirt path. That's the plan anyway. So one thing I need to do before I go any further with the manure spreading is to just cultivate out those areas that I've ploughed to reshape or tweak the landscape where our trees actually are, because otherwise we'll have ploughed ground showing through, and that's just going to look a little bit weird. So up towards the end here, I have that little corner which I reploughed, and I accidentally got a little bit careless and clumsy with the roller. We've got that strip just there that needs to be cultivated as well. So all we're doing here is we've got this little strip. This might clear the manure. Yes, it will. That's what I figured it would do. This is why I want to do this now rather than later, once I've manured this whole area, to then have to come back and redo a whole section of it. Just do these little spots just here. Like so. All of this equipment is just being leased right now, so the money that we had on the previous episode, most of that is gone on higher costs, and also paying for the saplings and the manure that we're spreading down as well. It is going to wipe out all of that, sort of extra money that we built up from doing a previous job. But that's okay. I'll do some contract work off camera and start to build that money back up again. I really do want to try and push on and progress forward enough to be able to get to owning field 1. So all of this here needs to be cultivated. I'm not worried about the stuff in the middle. Like I said, that's all going to get ripped up and redone anyway. So I'll finish off this cultivating, get back to the manure spreading, and I will check in with you in just a moment. Okay, so if you ignore this kind of strip in the middle, because this is going to be sort of reworked to create our dirt road area, you can now see that these little wooded areas that we have either side have this nice kind of almost like muddy dirt coloured ground. Plenty of trees in here for us to work with, and I've really roughed up the edges as well, so it doesn't look like clean smooth lines. Gives it a little bit more character. I want it to feel a little bit more like a natural kind of forestry area. I'm going to, as I say, put a shed in just here. So this is going to get reworked a little bit to put a shed in. And then we'll have our path going up the middle there. So I need to switch out from this cultivator and back to a plough so I can recut everything I need to. So there we go. I've had to dip into the bank ever so slightly. Just take out a very small loan of about 20,000 just to be able to cover the cost of the shed. But oops, we're using one of the Black Sheep modded or Black Sheep modding pack 10-pack sheds. Drop that about there, I think. That looks pretty good, pretty straight. Voila. So there we go. We now have a nice little shed here in our little forestry area. Oops. Complete with working lights as well. And this is our dirt road. Just need to clean it up just ever so slightly, a little way further up. So you can see now the separation in colour between the road itself and the area where the trees are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put little clumps of grass in there as well. See, I just need to do a little bit more tidying up in here. Just plough this out and change the colour of that, cultivate it down. A little bit more cultivating to do just here and here as well. But there we go. Essentially, this is pretty much done. Oh, and what I did here at the end as well was I've added in a little cross piece here at the end, just so I can put a little line of trees around the end there as well. So just a tiny little bit of work left to do, but this field is just about done. So with that, we're going to call it an end of an episode, and then hopefully at the start of the next episode, you'll see a little bit of growth on here, and see this area starting to really spring into life. So thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I will catch you back on Big Bud Farm very soon.